Shanghai is a super modern city of the future, and yet it retains a firm connection to its history. As a retro gamer, I was curious to see what Shanghai had to offer in this unique blend of the future and the past, and it didn't disappoint. In this video, we'll visit the first ever Sega store, as well as the Lie Huo Game Center, an awesome arcade and mecca for Shanghai gamers. And what could blend retro and modern game experiences more than taking a ride on the TRON Light Cycles at Shanghai Disneyland? Opened in May 2025, this is the world's first Sega Superstore, right in the heart of the bustling Nanjing East Road shopping street. It isn't a terribly large store, but they have all sorts of collectibles for your favorite series, like Persona and Like a Dragon, as well as classics like Sonic. There's a buzz on the internet lately about Sega's new move into transmedia, with the success of the Sonic movies, and I think that this is their first big step in that direction. I came away with this nice little marquee for my game room and this Sega tumbler. If you follow Nanjing East Road all the way to People's Park, it becomes Nanjing West on the other side. This has more high-end brands and luxury shops, but a few blocks from the main drag, there's a hidden little retro arcade called Liehuo. It's tucked away in this nondescript building, so look for number 77 and head up to the 4th floor. You'll immediately be greeted by several rows of candy cabs, followed by some rail shooters like House of the Dead and Time Crisis. Now wait a minute, I hear you say. I thought everything was cashless in China. How do you play these old cabinets then? Well, my astute viewer, there's a change machine which accepts WeChat Pay and Alipay and shoots out tokens. I spent a few tokens on Puzzle Bobble and Metal Slug before heading into the next room. In the main room, you'll find a super active arcade scene with hardcore rhythm gamers of all sorts, racing games, and even a stage for hosting gaming events. This space feels so lived in. I don't speak Chinese, but I could feel such a sense of community in this place. But even that was nothing compared to the back room. Rows and rows of old fighting games, Street Fighter II, King of Fighters, all the classics are here. And just like retro arcades in Japan, you can tell that these guys are the lifeblood of this place. Of course, there was a tiny annex of Gundam gamers which give them a run for their money. This arcade is honestly a little slice of paradise, as it has one thing that I think so many Japanese retro arcades are missing: people. Shanghai Disneyland is probably the only Disney park that I've never been to, and as the newest Disney park, almost everything there is different from Tokyo Disneyland. I mean, check out how wild Pirates of the Caribbean is. But the main priority for me was not Zootopia or Alice's Maze, but the TRON Light Cycles. We don't have this in Tokyo, so as a huge fan of both the movie and the arcade game, I was super excited to try this. And I will say, they got the light cycles right. As soon as you get on, you feel like you're Clue, getting ready to destroy the minions of the Master Control program. The ride itself doesn't feel especially like Tron, as you aren't really on a grid and you don't really see any enemy bikes until the end, especially when the ride goes outside. But it still feels incredibly cool just riding on a light cycle in any capacity, and it's something I've dreamed about since I was a kid. Now, if they can only make the discs of Tron, then I'll be the first one in line. What sort of ferret video would this be without showing off some weird piece of tech? Well, you're in luck, as I found this cheap little retro emulator in the Miniso. Right out of the box, this thing feels pretty cheap. The plastic isn't very sturdy, and the whole thing is super light. But for under $20, this thing has a full-color LCD, a rechargeable lithium-ion battery, a USB-C port, and an AV out port. It's crazy to me that electronics have become so cheap that they can still make a profit off of this. So let's see what's on it. Okay, right away we are greeted by an unlicensed version of Disney's Chip. No wait, Chip's nose looks like a chocolate chip, so this is Dale. We also have this absolute banger of a background track. And the sound effect for turning the page on the menu goes along with this song no matter what timing that you push it. Listen to this. As for games, this thing is loaded up with some straight up ROM dumps, blatant copyright infringement, and some of my favorites which I covered before, like Police Dog Lassie, Through Man, and Nutcracky. So after playing this for a while, I can tell you that while it might say over 400 games on the menu, that includes a ton of duplicates. But here are some of the games that really stood out to me. First up, we've got Angry Bird, an 8-bit platform puzzle game with legally distinct red birds and green pigs. It's actually kind of fun to play, albeit not at all like the mobile game. I feel like a lot of these Chinese bootleg games fall under this category. They're sort of ROM hacks with unlicensed characters. They essentially take an existing game and swap in sprites from popular IPs. Next is Bolide, a fairly run-of-the-mill Contra clone. It's impossible to overstate how popular Contra is in China. It's probably the best-selling game there, and almost every bootleg cart that you see has some version of Contra on it. My favorite thing about this one, though, is the awesome English in the intro.
Battle Hero Biker. The story tell you how to vindicate dignity of nation and integrity of domain. Biker was such a hero.
And finally, we have Mortal Kombat 4. This is my favorite kind of Chinese game, the 8-bit demake. Companies like Subor sold tons of bootleg Nintendo consoles, popularly called famiclones, in the 8-bit era. But everything in the 16 and 32-bit era was actually prohibited in China. So they never got official PlayStation or Sega Saturn releases there. Instead, programmers took popular games and basically stripped them down as much as possible to make them playable on an 8-bit console. To me, this actually shows a tremendous amount of skill and creativity. There are 8-bit versions of other popular titles of that era, like Final Fantasy VII, which actually sell for a lot of money on the secondhand market. I was actually eyeing a cartridge of Mortal Kombat 3 for the Famicom lately on Mercari, but now that I have MK4 here, I think I'll pass on it. China isn't necessarily known for its retro gaming culture, but it is cool that retro gaming isn't only contained to Japan either. I'm headed back to Shanghai soon, and I hope to check out the Museum of Game History when I'm there. So look forward to that video soon.